At the end of 2016, I got a headache, and I've had one ever since. It started with short bursts when I would lift things, when I would bend down to pet the dog or pick up a dog at work, coughing, sneezing. I would get these really quick explosions in my head, and then they would be gone. Kind of leaving behind an achy headache, but I figured it was something with me. I already have a heart history. I have autonomic dysfunction. Ehlers-Danlos is to blame for seemingly everything that ever happens with me. And it wasn't until February of 2017 where I was having trouble standing. I was losing my vision. I was constantly having trouble hearing. And I didn't realize it. I just started turning the captions on TV and listening to music with headphones on instead of general speakers, and it was always this pulsatile with my heart rate. I could just hear a ringing in my head, and it was probably February, would have been maybe 5 months of continued symptoms before I was like, this is not just something that is just a Carrie quirk. This is something much bigger. So in February, I sought treatment. I saw a few doctors. They were kind of pinning it on POTS and autonomic dysfunction, saying that headaches are common, and they are, many different kinds of headaches. But nobody could explain why I was comfortable flat, but as soon as I was upright, that was it for the day. I actually pulled up an old MRI. And I remembered at the end of 2016, I had gotten an MRI of my neck, and it included just the base of my brain. And in the neurosurgeon's office, he was looking at my scans, and he pulled them up, and there was an arrow pointing to the bottom of my skull, but in the notation on the MRI, it didn't say anything. And he said, they must have been measuring something. I don't know what that is. This is not just some dumb guy. This was a very well-respected, versed guy who didn't know Chiari malformation unless it was massive. Said now, in hindsight, he hadn't dealt with it in a very long time, and it wouldn't be something that would cross his path normally. I remembered that MRI. This is now like close to a year after seeing him. Remembered that MRI in May, and I pulled it up. I had the disc. It didn't have the arrows on it or anything. I pulled it up, I did some digging, and I saw comparison images of Chiari malformation and mine. And I remember calling my husband. He was on the road traveling for work. And I said, I'm gonna send you some pictures. I have Chiari malformation. And he was like, don't jump too far ahead. We're working on it. And then I sent him the pictures. And I remember he called me back and he was like, we need to get you in to see somebody. That was on a Thursday, and by Wednesday I was in the neurosurgeon's office confirming it. And you would think once you get a diagnosis, that's it. You're on the right track to getting fixed. Not even close. I consulted with a couple different neurosurgeons, two of which who were very eager to try fixing it. If you know anything about Chiari malformation, there's no fixing it. It's not fixable. You can do things to make yourself more comfortable and to help with the pressures in your head. The things that they wanted to do, I was told by my current doctors that if I had let one of them do that, I probably would have major seizures. It wasn't for another year that I would get in with the right neurologist after seeing several neurosurgeons who wanted to operate, leave it alone, said they didn't think it was a problem and that it probably was being caused by something else. And then I consulted with Dr. Greenfield in New York City and got his recommendation. He was a massive help. Remote consultation with him changed everything and put me on the right track to at least get in with people who weren't going to be actively causing harm. At that 1 year mark from when I first sought treatment, my neurologist said, I think it might be an acquired Chiari malformation. I think you have spinal fluid leaks. And few days later, I was at the hospital. They did a highly monitored lumbar puncture because it's dangerous when you have Ehlers-Danlos to do those. And we found a low opening pressure and several leaks in my lumbar area. They patched the same day so that we could help minimize the risk of continuing to leak from the puncture site. And I thought I was home free. I thought that was it. I'll never forget the look on my husband's face. Here it is a year in, and we're thinking, oh my gosh, this is the worst of it. It's been a year of being bedbound, and we figured it out. They figured it out. Like, we've got this under control. And I remember I was on the gurney. They were wheeling me in to get it patched, and I passed him in the hallway. And the look on his face, like, he stopped them, he kissed me on the head, and he's like, you did it, you figured it out, we got this. It wasn't even close to being done. That was February 2018. I had the patch, the headache was gone, and then it came back, and they said, this is normal. Patches don't always hold. We'll do more. We did another high volume targeted blood patch a couple weeks later, on my birthday, actually, my 28th birthday.
It's my birthday and I want a cupcake.
I rested extra hard, like, was afraid to pick up my toothbrush, you know, I didn't want to ruin it. And I got a little more relief from that one, and then it was right back to where I was at. The doctor said, we can do this as many times as you want to, but we need to get to the root cause of it. And it ended up going to Cedars-Sinai in late 2018. A lot of people know how that went, so I'm not going to get into it. But the one good thing that did come out of that is more extensive imaging was done, and again, I looked at my imaging in his office and I said, what are those on every single level of my spine? And he said those were cysts. Everybody had them. Not everybody had that many, but they were normal. And I'm like, all right. So I got my disc, took it home, looked at it, brought it to my neurologist's office, and she's like, oh my gosh. So at that moment, we realized that I have an acquired Chiari malformation caused by low intracranial pressure because my spine is leaking fluid, and it's leaking fluid through cysts on nearly every single nerve root. By some miracle, I live in a state with one of like 2 top-notch Tarlov cyst surgeons in the country, and by the end of 2018, I saw him for a consultation, and we tried a bunch of other things. So at the beginning of 2019, I had more blood patching and fibrin patching done. They use fibrin glue to patch around and what should have been inside of the cysts to stop it from filling up with spinal fluid so that it can stop leaking spinal fluid. End of 2019, the largest cysts in my sacrum, we thought there were 5 of them. It turned out there were 9 of them in that area. All of those cysts were reduced with a open sacrum surgery. We thought we might get some kind of relief. It wasn't a guarantee. Maybe about 30% of the pain that I live with improved, but what remains is that my brain is still herniating out of the bottom of my skull. And that's where I've been since the end of 2019. Obviously, the pandemic stopped a lot of forward progress. I've been on wait lists to get into other treatment centers. I've been seen by other neurosurgeons. I've been to every spine specialist that could possibly give any kind of input. It has been the single most exhaustive, nearly 5-year journey that I ever could have imagined for myself. In the next few weeks, provided it doesn't get canceled with everything that's going on right now, I will be going to Mayo Clinic to try one last time at basically redoing every test that's already been done in a more thorough way through a different set of eyes, and trying some new treatments, having some new procedures done just to see if there's anything that they can do. I've gotten opinions from, I think at this point, 3 neurologists, 3 neuroradiologists, and 4 neurosurgeons, and they all say something different. They're like, if you restore the pressure to your spine, your brain can float back up. Some people say once it's been that way for so long, you're left with that pain, but we can just try to stop it from getting worse. They've talked about putting in intrathecal ports so that every day home nursing would come in and add saline directly through a port into my spine, so that I've got the pressure to continue, and then it would just leak out throughout the day, and we'd repeat it every day. I've had doctors talk about what we can do long-term just to manage pain. I don't want my life to be that, but I don't have a say. So if I come back from Mayo and we haven't made any progress, then my current team of doctors agree it's time to start palliative care and just work on maintaining what I have and trying to improve quality of life as is. I know it's not a death sentence, but I guess in a way it is, for everything I thought I would get to do again painlessly. The life I've been promising myself I would get back to, it's a death sentence for that. And when you wake up every day for 5 years, motivating yourself to continue because of the hope of life as you knew it, it feels like admitting defeat. A lot of complex emotions surrounding this, and I'm not nearly qualified to sort through all of them. The one thing I can hope for myself is a quality of life that's just more compatible with things I would like to be doing. And if I have to modify the life that I knew in order to just not be in a bedroom all the time, then that's fine. I'll deal with it when I get to it, but I'm okay making that sacrifice. I'll sign off with that. I have a very hungry dog at my feet who is waiting for dinner, and hopefully next time I'm on here, it'll be with good news, or at least a game plan about what they're gonna do for me after all of this. Are you okay? Oh no. Oh, she's starving. Oh no. Oh my God, I'm horrible.